Okay guys, so let's talk about the Cloggzilla and most importantly the things that you can do to defeat it. So in this video we're going to talk about some RV accessories that more go along with like the sewer system and things that we use all the time, things that make it easier for us and products that we just use. Now the first thing on our list is going to be nitrile gloves. You know, a lot of people use gloves when they dump their tanks, a lot of people don't. I do prefer to use gloves. I always keep a box in the camper. Personally, the ones that I get are usually from Harbor Freight, but price-wise, they're about the same as the ones on Amazon that I'm going to link down below. I mean, what's to argue with? It keeps your hands cleaner when you're doing the deed. So this next item on the list is going to be something that probably a lot of people don't use. I'm going to tell you, I've been carrying one of these for years. Granted, I am the gimpy camper, and the reasons that I got a bad back and it's hard for me to get up and down. I use it mainly when I dump my tanks, but it also comes in handy when I'm working on the camper or anything else, and that's a knee pad. So I keep a knee pad. I actually keep it right inside the storage door on the side where my tanks are, and that's where I keep my nitrile gloves too. And so whenever I dump the tank, I open that storage door, get me a pair of gloves, and then I can get that knee pad, put it right down. That way I can get up under there and hook my hoses up and just take care of business. I also don't think you can really have a video about sewer products and not talk about like sewer treatments. You know, there's the more natural way. I've never really done that. I always use a sewer treatment that's commercially available. I usually just pick one up at Walmart or whatever. The one that I'm currently using is TST. I will say that I prefer the gel packs over the liquid. And the only reason for that is I had the liquid spill one time and it's like bright orange and it stained the far out of my cabinets. So I prefer the gel caps. We got this big tub of them at Walmart. It wasn't too expensive. The thing about it is you might want to get the smaller packs if you don't go through a whole lot, because I've learned that after about a year that plastic that held those packets together, it just breaks down and leaves you with a bunch of powder, which I personally just been pouring a little bit of powder down the toilet. The biggest thing that you can do to help any of your RV sewer stuff is to use plenty of water though. So after you dump your tank, fill a few gallons of water up in the black tank, and that's going to help kind of start liquefying everything, keep you from having solids build up. And always use plenty of water whenever you're flushing your RV toilet. So the next item on our list is going to be really helpful if your sewer connector is way up under the side of the RV. You know, it's kind of hard to get down there, get that hose and get it back. If it's like 6 or 8 inches up under the side of the RV, get it up under there and tighten it down, because it can try to cock one way or the other. But I want to tell you, I found that this next item helps a lot with that problem. And it's the Valterra 10-inch clear view extension. And so you hook your hose up to one side. I always leave it hooked up to my hose. And then you take the other side and you connect it to the sewer location under your camper. Now, because that's 10 inches and it's rigid, it's a lot easier to reach up under there, keep it straight, and tighten it down to that bayonet fitting. So I've been really happy with that. Also, it's a lot easier to see kind of what's coming out of there than just that 90-degree clear elbow. All right, so then we're going to jump from that to the next item on the list, which is kind of intertwined here because it's a Valterra external gate valve. Now you can get these that just screw onto your fitting, or you can get them that glue on. I've had both. I will say that I much prefer the one that glues on, because the one that you just kind of pop on there and it locks on, number one, that gate valve isn't fixed, and so it can kind of rotate. And number two, I just don't feel like it's going to stay all that well. I really didn't like the one that we had, so I ended up using the glue on. And if you glue it on, it's pretty much easier. All you got to do is cut that bayonet fitting off and get a 3-inch, if your pipe's 3-inch, mine's 3-inch, get a 3-inch connector union and just make an extension there, bring it all the way out to the edge, and then put the glue on valve on. Now, why do you need an external gate valve? Well, after a while, those gate valves in your camper, the ones that you have the things you open up and it lets all the poo and stuff out of there, they kind of have this tendency to leak a little bit. And the reason behind that a lot of times is more, it's the cables that go to the valves, which we'll get into in just a second because I got another product that'll help with that. But those cables wear out and they just don't shut as well as they used to. Now, some people talk about like lubricating them and stuff like that. I didn't personally have good luck doing that. I had to change my gate valve. And that's the next thing on our list is the Valterra EZ Valve. So a lot of things I'm kind of getting the point of, I don't like all the technological stuff. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd and I like technology, but I'm learning that technology in our cars and RVs sometimes is just more of a problem than a solution. So a lot of times I really like more mechanical fixes, but for these issues that I was talking about with those cable valves, I've had so much problems out of them. And the reasons when you install those things, basically they have very strict instructions. That cable's not supposed to bend more than so many degrees over so many feet. And I don't think they really pay attention to that whenever they throw them in there. But these Valterra EZ Valves, it comes with a controller. This is just a button you flip up to dump it open. You go about 3 seconds, opens up, lets all the stuff out, and then you push the button and it just closes back down. Now I will say that if it's an area where you can get to it, because mine are up under like an enclosed underbelly, but if it's an area where you can get to it and it fails, you can also, with these, you can disconnect the handle, and it's got the manual handle so you can close it and open it manually as well. Another benefit to that is that you can mount it wherever you want to because you can extend the wires to the controller. And I suppose that all of this is useless unless you have a sewer hose, so I guess we have to add that to the list. The one that I use is the Camco Rhino Flex. A lot of people use it. I think it's one of the most popular ones. I will say that now this is about the only thing I think that I'm going to mention that's not on my personal use list. But the big thing right now, everybody just has to have it, is the Camco Adapter Pro. And basically it has like a lock. You push it down and it expands into the pipe. And so it kind of locks it into place. And a lot of people really like those. Well, apparently that won't fit on their Camco Rhino Flex hose, the one that's got the clear elbow, because the end of that hose doesn't have a bayonet fitting. It will fit on the extension, but not the hose itself. I personally carry around the 15-foot hose that does have that clear elbow on it, the old style one. I don't have the locking one, but I don't go to a lot of places where it's full hookups where I stay hooked up anyway, which is also why I don't use like the little slinky thing that folds out and elevates the hose to get it to drain right. I don't think I've ever, well, I'll take that back. One time I've stayed at a place where I've left my hose hooked up all the time, because I usually don't. And even if I'm at a place with full hookups, I usually just dump it whenever we leave, because I don't really like the hose being out. It's usually in those areas where like a camper's real close to the neighbors. I don't feel like they should have to look at my stinky slinky the whole time, but it is what it is. On top of that hose, I do have one 10-foot extension, so I have 25 feet of sewer hose if I need it. So now we're just going to keep going down the line. Where do you keep that sewer hose whenever you're done and you're wanting to store it? So some campers have the place in their back bumper where they put the sewer hose. I don't have one. Valterra makes a great one, but it's a circular one, and I don't know if it's 5 or 6 inches in diameter, but personally I really like the DIY one that I did. So I actually put 2 on my camper. They're made out of 5-inch vinyl posts with caps on both sides, and they have some gutter in the center that acts as a drawer to put my sewer hoses in. So I keep my sewer hose, my extension, my elbow, and I keep some other things like the donut adapters and stuff in case I need one. I've never really needed one. And I also keep a water hose there, which is not my freshwater hose. I keep a black hose for certain occasions. And I'll throw this in as an honorable mention that occasionally, if I'm staying somewhere where it's not frowned upon to dump a little gray water, I know I can hear the comments already, because that gray water tank fills up first. So if you're not staying somewhere, like say you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no rules against dumping gray water, and this particular municipality, because I hear all that already. But you're going to let a little bit of gray water out, which, by the way, is just hand soap, food particles, and shower stuff. Like, it's the same stuff that you would have at a faucet at a campground. Okay? There's no poo in it, that unless you pooed in your shower. There's no urine, anything like that. It's water and soap and food particles. But you can get a Valterra cap. I use one of those, and on the end of that cap it does have like a water hose connector, so you can connect a hose to that, and that way you can direct that water away from the camper. Because one of the main complaints if you do that is that it's going to flood the campsite and this and that and the other. I'm more talking about this in like a personal setting. If you're at a family member's house, the family member's like, I don't care, whatever, they live next to some woods, you can stroll that water hose all the way down there, and you can just let that little bit of water out to just give you an extra day or two. All right, so let's talk about some ways to flush your tank out. And some RVs like mine have a tank flush. My old camper didn't. And one thing that can happen even with a tank flush is you can get like a clog in that pipe that comes down and goes out to the sewer hose. And what happens when you need to fix that? Well, one easy way to do that is to keep a flush valve. Now, there's a couple of different ones that people really like. The first one's the Valterra Flush King. I had this one. Truthfully, I lost it. I'm not sure where it was. I think I actually left it connected to the sewer pipe on my old camper, and it bounced off going down the road. So that's another reason I don't really like those screw-on gate valves just by themselves, and this adds about 4 or 5 inches sticking out of the side. And the other option is the Rhino Blaster. Now, there's a couple of options with the Rhino Blaster, and the issue with that is I had one of the cheap ones and I just got it on clearance at Walmart, didn't think about it. I was like, oh, I could use one of those, grabbed it, took it away. Well, it was the kind that didn't have the gate valve on it. So if there's not a gate valve on it, it's a lot less useful, because that gate valve allows you to back flush into the tank. If you don't have it, it just kind of squirts some water up and it just falls right back down and goes out the hose. So with the gate valve, you can put that on there and you can just fill that tank up a little bit. And if there's a clog in that tube, it'll just push it right on back into the tank, loosen it up a little bit, turn the water off, and everything comes down the hose. Another thing that you can do, either with using that or using the tank flush on your camper, is you can fill the tank up and then you can let all the water out of it. Now with this, it's very important to know how much your tank holds. And the way that I usually do it's actually I just let it run for a couple of minutes while I'm standing there watching it, like 5 minutes tops, and then I just drain all the water out, and I do that 3 or 4 times. But a better way is to get a water meter. And so you can get these pretty cheap water meters. I would get one for my fresh tank. I have one, and that's all I use it for, is the fresh tank. But if you want to use it for this, you can use it for your black tank. Now, it's important to know how many gallons is in your black tank, and don't push that. Just go to like 3/4 of that value. And so you flush that amount of water in, and you're watching it the whole time to be careful, because if you don't, and you're going to be breaking the rule that they have written on most of these flushes and stuff, and that's to keep your valves open the whole time. Because if you don't, you're going to fill the tank up if you forget about it, and then it's not going to have anywhere to go, and it's going to go up through the vent, and then all the poopy's going to come out on top of your camper and go all over your roof and all over the sides of your camper, and it's going to be a big old stinky messy mess. So you have to know that you got to pay very close attention if you do that method and not overfill the tank. And that water meter was actually the 10th thing on our list, so that completes our list. I hope this list is helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Like I say, I appreciate it if you use our Amazon links. If you'd rather find stuff locally or whatever, go support your local guy too. I'm just saying it does help the channel a little bit if you use the links, and I do appreciate it, guys. So we'll see you around next week.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.